All right, the glass enclosure. If you bought this course and you do this part of the project yourself, I assure you you're going to save all the money that you invested into this course, because this is the part that can be very, very expensive, sometimes more costly than all the waterproofing and tile combined. And since this is a very custom shower enclosure, it's definitely something that people that do this for a living are going to charge a lot of extra money in case, they mess up on the measurements, or just being custom just takes a little bit more time to do. And it really does come down to having a good glass supplier that you can order this from. And I'm going to give you a whole bunch of details on that as well. Okay, so ordering and measuring your glass. This is where glasssupply.com really makes this easy. I was super excited about finding this company last year, and it made ordering custom glass so much easier for the DIYer or contractor. In the past years, since I've been doing bathrooms for 16 years now, when I would do a custom tiled shower, I would always do the glass as well. And I really do feel that if you can do all of this intricate tile work, you can definitely do your own glass and make some extra money at it. But Glass Supply really makes this easy because you are basically able to do most of this online. And then you also have a technician that's going to be able to help with making sure that you get the right configuration for your shower. So I wanted to just show you on their site how to order a basically something off of their site directly, because the steam shower that we're actually building is a little bit more complex than most of the templates that they have on here. But I just wanted to show you a new feature they have on here. And if you were just wanting a regular glass enclosure with an angled ceiling like this, you can easily customize this on here. But when we get into the steam shower, we'll show you that here in a minute, we're going to create a schematic so that we can send to the technician so they can help us get the actual glass enclosure ordered for what we need. They're going to ask me a bunch of questions. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I wanted to show you all the different configurations that they have. So they basically have neo angles, sliding doors, a 90-degree outside corner shower if you had it. And probably one of the most common ones is a inline shower door system. This is something that most of you might be dealing with. Definitely check out my video. I have one on going over a custom shower bench, and I go through the whole process of ordering it. But for just for simplicity of showing you how to go up with the off angles, is first you want to determine what kind of door system you want to have on there, how it's going to be opening, and how it's going to be mounted. Now, in my opinion, I think the best way to go about mounting a door and the fixed panel is to simply go with a U channel for the fixed panel and then door mounted hinges. So as you can see behind me, I got the door mounted hinges and I have U channel all the way around my scenario. And the main reason for that is that the door is a lot easier to install that way. It's definitely a solid rock way to go about installing the door. But for the fixed panel, it gives you a lot more wiggle room, especially with these off angles. So it really just gives you a lot more flexibility to get that glass to fit nicely with everything that you're doing. But just to take a look here, you could basically customize this to whatever you need. So if your overall opening is 54 inches, then you're just going to be plugging that in to it. But I wanted to show you about the fixed door panel and how you can edit these now in order to get an off angle. So if this was the fixed panel that we were just doing 72 inches high, I want to be able to make it come down, whatever that measurement is. So if it's 20 inches by 20 inches, then you're going to be able to get that nice angle straight across here. Now this particular shower, this is a complete 45-degree angle, so you want to double check what your angles are and then just basically go by that. Now, if the angle is more or less than 45, that might be where you want to get some help from the technician. You can always reach out to them on that. But I just wanted to show you that new feature of being able to do that. I thought that was really, really awesome because now you can get, off-angled cuts and be able to get that to fit the enclosure that you need. But for our scenario, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a schematic of what we have here. And what I'd like to do for that is use Google Drawing. So if you have Google Drive, just go on Google Drive, pretty simple tool to use. And we're basically going to make a custom shower. Now, when you're measuring this, you're measuring everything tile to tile, ceiling to floor, from the curb up. You're getting accurate measurements. You're not doing any deductions. Glass Supply is going to do that for you. So let's just call this the steam shower glass template. And we're just going to get all the measurements that we need for this. So first thing, this is a little weird the way this is created. So first thing I'm going to do is just get a square. And what I'm going to use is the poly line, because they're not going to be able to get me that little, this basically shape right off the bat. So I'm just going to use this as a reference for square. And I want to try to make this look as close as possible to what we have here. So that's that. And we'll get rid of this big square. So that's going to be basically our opening. Now we want to create a door, and our door is going to be basically 72 inches tall. That's kind of what makes sense to go over a curb and into a shower, but you can make it whatever you want. But we're just going to reference the door here, and we're going to go all the way over to that corner. Now this is where they're going to have questions for you, and then they're going to want ask you additional questions when you send this in. But this is just strictly to give you basically dimensions of the whole schematic here. So we're going to put in all our measurements of what we have here. And this is probably one area that definitely going to ask you is what's the dimension from here over. And in this scenario, it was 29.5 inches. When you go 72 inches up, it was 29.5 inches all the way to the tile. They will do the deductions for the U channel and what you need between the actual door, the swing here. So you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is put in your measurements. And then we wanted this to be 72 inches tall for the door. We also needed the measurement for the back wall, 48.5 inches in this instance. And then we have an overall height of 90.5 inches. So that gives that full dimension there. You got that. And then we also need the bottom, which was 52.25 in this scenario. So that gives me all the dimensions they primarily need. I could send this in. Now, one thing you might want to say is that this is a 45-degree angle, so that they know what you're dealing with there. So that just kind of gives me an idea. This is really all you need for it. So it's just kind of pointing that these are both 45-degree angles. So anyways, yeah, you're just going to basically send this down as a PDF. You're going to be able to go to their site. I'll leave links down below to them. But basically, you're just going to want to contact them and send you over this schematic. But just to further iterate on, now we're, if you had a regular standard enclosure, this is what really is important to a contractor. You were able to choose between 3/8 and 1/2 inch glass. You're able to get rain glass if you wanted, and then these are the different flavors that you have for it. But what was really awesome is that you can actually get an official quote right here. That's going to be the actual amount of what something like this. Now, this steam shower is going to cost a little bit more because they have that third panel up there. But this gives you a good reference of what this might cost to do. So this is a really good way to evaluate things. So I'll leave all the links down below of how to get the Glass Supply and be able to do this. But yeah, it was definitely one quick, easy way to go about doing this. Now we're going to get into the installation portion of this. And delivery is really awesome. They ship it straight to your door. So that was really cool. Makes it so much easier than trying to transport glass. I've definitely scratched a lot of glass in my time trying to get glass from the manufacturer to the job. So hope that helped you out. All right, so first thing, install the U channel, because that's going to kind of dictate where the center of our door is, and we want to be able to get the door to align with the U channel. So in this particular situation, we have a 5-inch curb. So from end to end, it's pretty even all the way across. So to be centered, we just want to measure from one side 2 1/8. Now, if this was a really cramped shower, which this is not, this is, what do we have in here? I think it's 31 inches. So it's a pretty decent width. But if you had like, 28 inches inside of here, I would say go ahead and, try to put the glass doors on the outside of the curb, so you just have a little bit more elbow room. But since this is a standard, got 31 inches in here, we're just gonna go right on the center because I think it's just gonna look aesthetically pleasing that way. So we just measured 2 1/8 so that our U-channel is centered within that area. Now I am using a laser. Most important thing with a laser when you're doing a vertical is just to make sure that you measure and mark your tile on either side so that each side, because if you don't have this measured, you can be slightly off and have a crooked door installation. But you'll get a level line with it. It's just you have to make sure that you pivot it to make sure that it's on either side. So we made sure it is 2 1/8 here, 2 1/8 here. Now we'll go ahead and just measure our pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do the top one first, just in case, I screw up. I'll be able to use the U-channel somewhere else on this. So 58.5. So this should be a 45-degree angle. That's a 45-degree angle. So that's the way we're going to cut it. Yeah, so we have blocking. Just make them work. So right there. Right there. There. And then we have them at the ends. So right here, here, and here. So I just want to make sure that I drill some holes. Gonna do some pilot holes. Since we're doing ceramic, we're doing one of these pointer bits. This makes it really nice and easy to pinpoint exactly where you need to drill. It's a little bit easier than these other types because these are great for porcelain. I definitely recommend these type for porcelain just because they have all the diamonds around it and they last longer. But for ceramic, it's gonna be really easy to drill through, so we're gonna use this one. Just put a little bit of silicone in these. We just got some galvanized or deck screws, exterior screws. All right, so now we'll go ahead and get this piece of glass in. We don't know exactly how much we're moving this because that's one thing I like about U-channel is that you got all this additional room to tighten up things. So if you're doing something custom like this, I just definitely highly recommend using U-channel so you have plenty additional space to move things around. So we'll get the door prepared and we'll get these fixed panels in and see where we need to measure for them. All right, so they give these little packages of spacers on here, a bunch of different sizes. This is going to help to shim up this glass pretty much just from the bottom. So they've got a whole bunch of different sizes. So just go with a medium size. They just have a whole bunch of different sizes. We'll just go with this. I have a feeling we're going to need some height. So I'm just going to put this in here on this bottom track, and then we're going to set the glass in, set the door, and then just kind of indicate here where we want to cut this U-channel we align everything. So let's see what we got here. 29 and a quarter. 29 and a quarter. So let's see, I can't remember what our door was. 29 and a quarter, I mean, that's, you know, we got a 29-inch door. So that's gonna work out fine. We'll have plenty of room. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this U-channel here because that's gonna interfere with me kind of setting my door. But yeah, that's gonna work out perfectly. So let's go ahead and take this back out. Biggest thing with handling glass is just don't hit these edges on anything. Definitely put something down if you're gonna set it on tile. You know, a blanket, moving blanket would be ideal. It's just something soft. These corners can be really, they can make the whole thing shatter really easily. But the face of this, really super strong. So you don't have too much to worry about that. You just don't wanna hit the edges of the tile with the glass. Half-inch material here. Okay, so let's go get our hinges on here. Yeah, there we go. That's about even with that. Okay, I think that should work. Get these marked. Give you an extra hinge. So we're just, rather than taking that one off, just mark one drill. These are stainless steel screws, so I would recommend just taking one of your deck screws and just pre-drilling this, just to make sure that you're not hitting anything and that you're not gonna break or strip out that stainless steel screw, because if those things snap, you're kind of shit out of luck, really. So I always do this just to make sure that I'm not hitting anything. But we have a 2x6 behind there, so this is gonna secure really well to the stud. Silicone in each one of these holes. That'll work. 3/8 of an inch gap. Yeah. I mean, it's 5/16 to 3/8. So, but we can always move this over a little bit too. We got all this space here. So this guy we can take out of here. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna silicone in here. And in this piece, we're just gonna silicone on the piece of the glass and push this over to the wall. So we don't necessarily need this anchored into this wall. We already have 2 planes here and everything's gonna be silicone. So I think we're gonna be just fine. It's just the way that this is working out. It's just gonna be easier to slide this in and then put this piece of glass in. I guess ultimately, if I would have put this panel up first and then work my way around, that might have been the better way to go. But each scenario is a little bit different. I just wanted to make sure I adjusted this door to make it sure it fits within the scenario. Because as you can see, you know, we're right here at the edge. So this needs to be sealed. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this with silicone. And this is probably gonna ooze out. We're gonna have to cut it out tomorrow or when it dries. And we're just gonna put a small bead on here. I don't need this to be super, like I don't need a ton of it. I just need it to basically seal to the glass. Okay, so then this will just go right on here. And we'll push that U channel back once I get this other side panel in. It's a lot of silicone that oozed out of there. That's gonna suck. You gotta let it dry. You're just gonna smear it all over it if you try to clean it up now. So I'll just leave that the way that it is. But let's go ahead and put this bottom panel in. Got our spacers in there. Now we're gonna just fill this guy with silicone. Okay, so we'll be able to adjust the door for the rest of that. This is all slid in. That's all in. A lot of silicone everywhere. Definitely gonna need acetone. But I think this is gonna work. Everything's aligned. Yeah, all right. No doubt that was a challenge. We'll let this stuff dry, scrape it off, silicone nicely against it, clean everything up and put the seals in there. So, but that's gonna work. Because I could just adjust this door a little bit. I need to get this over a little bit so I'll be able to move the hinges that way and then be able to use that bulb seal to go all the way around there. But yeah, so let it dry and then we can finish it up. So there really isn't anything fun about cleaning glass, especially when you have a lot of excess silicone like we did in this particular situation. Really the best thing is just use a utility knife to try to scrape off of the dried silicone and use a little bit of acetone to basically remove the excess off of the glass. This could really take a little bit of time. Most other glass enclosures, it doesn't really get this messy, but since we had such so much silicone that we had in all that U channel, it really made it a little bit more, a lot more on there than it normally is. So take your time at it. Make sure you have some acetone, and then yeah, we'll move on to the sealing of around the door so that this is airtight, along with the final siliconing of the U channel. Okay, so for the silicone going against my U channel, I do highly recommend getting a more clear type. So this is made by CRL. This is like the clearest, it's called water clear. It literally is the clearest silicone you can get. It's very long lasting, and it's something that if you're doing finish work like this in a steam shower, this is definitely worth the extra money getting, because again, it doesn't cloud up. It stays completely crystal clear. And whatever they make this stuff out of, it's pretty bomb proof. So we're gonna go ahead and silicone all the edges before we put the door seals on. So just all along the edges. And you're like really won't even be able to see this stuff. It's like so water clear that you can just caulk it, tool it, and be done.
Is it sticky?
Yeah. It's just a thicker consistency than most silicones. But it's just great because, I mean, you can't even see it even if it smears onto the actual U channel. I mean, you just literally can't see it. But this silicone here will kind of hold my glass panel and above here in place. I'll go ahead and do the inside as well. Get our door sweep on here. Nice thing about this is it has this little leg here on the side. So when water hits it, it goes into the shower. Put a little bit of silicone on this. Okay. Holy cow, that really steams up quick though.
Man, the rest of the bathroom isn't steamy. That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. No, it's pretty I mean, it's fairly airtight, really. Whoa. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Just like a regular steamer, man. Oh yeah, that stuff's not gonna. Shit.
Shit is right.
Oh shit, that's all just coming right off, isn't it?
Not gonna last.
No, it's not.
All right, so those little adhesive type transitions didn't work really well once you got the steam shower going. So this is going to be the better way to go. This is called an an H leg jam. So basically it's going to keep the door from only swinging out, which should be fine. I mean, there's really no room to walk around this door anyways, but this is just going to allow that door to seal right to it. So I'll leave a link down below for this, but this is definitely the way to go because now you're not relying on any adhesive to do it. Really, the amount of steam that comes out of a small gap like this isn't really that big of a deal, not really consequential. And if I were to do maybe this again, I might just actually just make this gap a little bit smaller and just leave it like that, not have any of these transitions. Because in some ways, this is going to end up feeling very claustrophobic in here with everything completely sealed. And so I think just having a little bit of a vent, it would be kind of nice. And you can do that with the door. But this works out great. So all this does is just simply slide over the glass. And I'm not going to even silicone it because it really has a nice tight seal on it. And if you ever wanted to replace it or remove it to clean the glass, you could. But pretty simple. So it works. So I'm just going to keep it from swinging out, and it makes a nice seal. So if you're somebody who really wants to be completely sealed in there with the shower, that's definitely going to be the way to go. And then along this side here, I'm not going to do anything. They're really, even when I was steaming this up, not a whole lot's coming out between that gap. So we'll just leave that alone so it looks as frameless as possible. So yeah, I mean, it worked out perfectly right in that corner of the glass to be able to fit in this. So
I felt it yesterday whenever I was taking pictures or filming. Does look good.